Well, hello, and welcome to Intercession City Church of God. I'm Pastor Matt, and today we're doing a little bit of addressing on maintenance. You see, because if you don't do maintenance on your vehicle, it's going to break. If you don't change the oil regularly, the motor's going to blow. If you don't check what's broken, it's going to break. If you don't do maintenance on your house, it's going to start falling apart. The plumbing's going to break, the roof is going to start leaking. Maintenance is an important part. Imagine if you never changed any more light bulbs. Gradually, one by one, the lights would start going out. Eventually, over time, you'd end up not having any lights that work anymore. It's maintenance. In Christianity, it is no different. We need to have maintenance done in our lives. We've been talking about prayer, study, fellowship, and works. These are four building blocks of your Christianity. Jesus is the foundation. Everything that you do is done because of what Jesus did. Everything is done. He is the foundation stone that we build our Christianity upon. If you take out the foundation of Jesus out of our Christianity, then we don't have anything but ianity. Because Christianity, Christian, the word Christian, it's all from the word Christ, which is Jesus. So therefore, without that, you just have anity. There's a lot of philosophies in this life. There's a lot of different things in this life, a lot of different ways that you can get self-help or self-motivated, or, if you think really hard and you envision it in your life, it shall come to pass. Well, let's try that real quick, because I think that there is $1 million right in front of me. I don't see it. I know a lot of people think I'm poking fun at stuff that they hold dear. Jesus poked fun at some people too. He had some answers to questions that they just couldn't answer. They would come and try to trap him, and he would ask a question in return. They wouldn't answer it. This is it. Jesus is the foundation. You pray. You study. You study this. You fellowship. Then you do works. Fellowship is what I want to talk about right now. I know it's kind of awkward during this time, because right now one of the foundational stones of our Christianity is being hampered. They are telling us that you have to socially distance yourself. Within Christianity, I know that the greeting that I often like to give to when I see somebody who is a member of the church come in, I just want to give them a hug. Don, Scylla, I just want to give them a hug and tell them, I love you, man. It's so good to see you. It's an embrace of like, I can't tell you how great it is to have you here. That's fellowship. And right now, during this time, it's kind of hard to have fellowship. The government is telling us to stay away from each other. The government is telling you, first, you can't have more than 50 people together. Okay, that's fine. We can still have church. You can't have more than 10 people. Okay, well, it's a small church. So it keeps on going. Well, now you can't be around anybody. You can't do anything. We're going to issue orders. You have to stay at home. You're not allowed to go outside of your home except for essential things, like get gas, get food, go to the doctors. Well, what about essential being of fellowship? What about that as being essential is that we need to have fellowship with people. We need to be around other people. There are some solutions to that. FaceTime with people. It's kind of like fellowshipping. Great, Zoom. FaceTime with multiple people. Zoom with multiple people at the same time and talk with each other and interact. I had a Zoom meeting with pastors from Central Florida. Boy, it was fun. We had a great time. We enjoyed it. We were talking amongst each other, and it was just a wonderful time of fellowshipping. Find somebody you know who's been in isolation for 15 days or more, that are already done their quarantine for 2 weeks, and you know that they ain't carrying it around, and you've already done yours, so you know that you're probably safe. That doesn't mean you need to share a soda together. That doesn't mean you need to share silverware together, but you need to fellowship. We went out with some people in a Jeep last week, and it was fellowship. They were in their Jeep. I was in our Jeep. We talked. Well, if we got out to look at anything, they stayed 6 feet away. Nobody was coughing. Nobody was sneezing. You can put on your mask if you want. Go get your mask. Like this. Get your mask. Put it on. Don't touch everything that somebody else is touching. Just put your mask on and spend some time hanging out with friends. This is the problem. If you don't fellowship, your Christianity is suffering by a percentage. There are benefits to fellowship. Now, I know during this time it's a little bit hard because you don't know where everybody's been. A lot of people are very afraid right now. A lot of people don't want to catch this thing. But fellowship can be done a lot of ways. And some of the benefits of fellowship is that there's something that when you're with somebody that they can say, hey, it's all right. But when you're with somebody, sometimes you can tell things are not all right. Things are not going good. A person's countenance often will betray their words. They say everything's going right, but their face is saying they're hurting inside. They're feeling lonely. They're depressed. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. They don't have any hope. Oh, how are you doing? I'm okay. You know what true fellowship is? When you can tell somebody, not really, I'm not okay. Things are not going too good. I'm a little worried about my finances. I'm a little worried about my job. I feel like I'm trapped in my home. My kids are driving me crazy. My wife, she keeps giving me stuff to do. See, fellowship is a way as Christians for us to minister to each other, but it's a way for us to encourage somebody. There's that time when you feel in life, you feel kind of down, and the world says somebody needs a hug. And when you embrace somebody and you give them that hug, it can lighten their day. We can carry each other's burdens. We can have good times together and enjoy each other's company. That's fellowship. But fellowship gives us an opportunity to share things in our life, to encourage one another. We can break bread together. We can celebrate the Lord together. We can share what God is doing in our lives. That's fellowship. Fellowship also has the benefit as if you're doing something wrong in your life and you got a sin in your life and you're trying to hide that sin under the carpet and you know that what you're doing is wrong, you won't want to go fellowship with Christians. You don't want to hang around Christians because you no longer feel comfortable. You feel like it's going to be exposed. You don't want to go to church because you're going to sit in church and God's going to give that pastor a word of knowledge about the thing that you've been doing. And he can call you out in front of everybody. A good pastor doesn't necessarily, he won't call you out and say, all right, Brother Johnson, you've been cheating on your wife in front of everybody. That's not the proper way to do anything like that. But if you don't want to hang around Christians anymore, it's probably because you're trying to hide sin. You need to hang around Christians. You need to be in fellowship, because one of the best things about Christian fellowship is it is other Christians speaking encouragement into your life and sharing scripture into your life. When you begin to fellowship and hang around with people who are not Christians, they begin to share their things in your life. You have every intent to go out there and to preach to them and share the love of Jesus to them. And next thing you know, you're drinking at a bar getting drunk and hanging out with them getting stoned. Because you got taken into their lifestyle instead of you taking them into yours. And next time there's a church meeting, you don't want to go because you kind of feel uncomfortable. You don't want to go to church because you feel uncomfortable about your life. Well, you know what? Church fellowship, this is what it's for. The church is a hospital. It is a hospital for the emotionally, mentally, and physically damaged people. That's what the church is for. It is time for us to gather together as the body of Christ, ministering one to another and taking each other's needs and bringing them up to the Lord in prayer. That's what it's for. So if you're sick, or you're sinful, or you feel convicted, or you're lonely, or you're depressed, you need to find a church. And you need to become part of that church. And if you're in a church and you're some stuffy neck Christian who doesn't want to even shake hands with people coming in, you need to show yourself friendly. You need to lift up your countenance and you need to greet people in the name of the Lord with joy. Half the problem is half the people sometimes in church look like they got baptized in bad vinegar. That they done died and haven't had the good grace to just go lay down somewhere. They're so sour and bitter about that lady who's sitting at the other side of the church that one time borrowed a pair of shoes and never returned it 25 years ago. Get over it. Fellowship. 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 Christian fellowship is done through Jesus. Christian fellowship centers around Jesus. Christian fellowship is about sharing something to do with Jesus. It's about His Word. It's about sharing His Word. It's about spending time singing. It's about spending time in prayer. But Christian fellowship can be sitting together with a group of Christian friends and watching a good movie, a clean movie, or going out somewhere to the beach together or out for a drive together. Yeah, you can fellowship right now, even during COVID-19. You can meet up with a friend and say, hey, let's drive somewhere and just go watch the sunset. We'll stay apart, but just, do that kind of stuff together. If you play guitar, grab a guitar. Go play guitar somewhere with a friend. Fellowship. Fellowship is one of the 4 foundational blocks that you build upon Jesus. Prayer, study, fellowships, and lastly, works, which we'll talk about at another time. These are foundations that will make you a stronger Christian. If you're a weak and pathetic Christian and you consider yourself a Christian, you say, oh, I'm a Christian, you know whether you're a weak Christian or not. I don't gotta tell you that. You say, yeah, I'm a Christian, I'm just not a super Christian. I'm not a dedicated Christian. I don't go to church anymore. Don't be part of the dones. That's a group of people in the United States that are just done. They're done with church. They love God. They probably still pray a little bit. They probably read but they don't fellowship with other Christians. Well, I fellowship with my wife. No, assembling together with other believers. With your wife, that's fine. That's good. But it's about fellowshipping with other people. And I don't got to tell you whether you're a strong Christian or a weak Christian, because you know. Really, we're all weak except for the blood of Christ. If it weren't for Jesus and His grace, we would be cast down, distraught, without hope. Put your trust in Jesus today. find brothers and sisters. Find a church and get involved in that church. Do something at that church. Sound, cleaning, musicians, prayer, yard work. It's a lot of things to do at a church. You might be an artist. Use your art skills for the Lord. Whatever it is. Everybody can at least spend time in prayer for your pastor. I need your prayers. Pastor Randy needs your prayers. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that you've enjoyed this little nugget of truth about keeping your Christianity straight and keeping your Christianity strong. Until next time, we'll see you. Have a wonderful Jesus-filled day.